Hello and welcome to the Stress Mastery Podcast. I am your host today, Peggy Romero, and I am here with Brenda Morales following up with our Rise Up and Shift event that we all enjoyed so much that we're there. So thank you, Brenda, for joining me today.
Thanks for having me, Peggy. I'm excited to talk about it because we learned a lot.
So what was your favorite part about it? Well, first of all, what brought you there? Like what made you say, yeah, I'm going to go to it?
It was on my bucket list back when there was supposed to be one before COVID hit. I was like, well, that would be really cool. I'd like to do that. And then COVID hit and it was like, well, I guess I'm not. So, I've been following the podcast for a long time. I've been part of the online community for a long time. And I wanted to make some major changes this year. And I thought that coming to something like this would kind of help me kick my butt into gear to make those changes.
To rise up and shift.
Exactly.
Yeah. So that's good. So did you, I don't want to put words in your mouth. Did you get out of it what you wanted to get out of it?
As I said at our first sort of little meet and greet, I just came to learn as much as I could. And so, yeah, I absolutely did. I feel like I learned a lot about myself, but also about some of the concepts that Bill presents that maybe were unclear to me before, are now clearer. Not all of them, because it is a lot to take in, but I definitely got my money's worth.
Yeah. So isn't it funny how it's totally different? You listen to him. Sometimes I just think, I wish I could play this in slow motion and write down every word that he's saying. And then, because
right.
I listen to the podcast sometimes 2 or 3 times if it's like, wait, let me listen to that again. Because I do try to think about things as I go. I got to make sure that my phone's on silent. It's a lot of information, but it was nice being there that you could ask a question. It was nice that after the breaks, he would come back and say, okay, what do we want to talk about what I just taught you? I thought that was really beneficial.
It really was. And I thought it was kind of interesting. It was sort of like a reserve in the beginning, everyone, but by the end, we're all hugging and, all that kind of stuff. So I think sort of just that kind of feeling more connected to people too was very helpful.
Yeah, really, really nice. We're all, as Bill always says, we're all human beings. So we all go through the same exact behavior and the same patterns in the human construct. Like we can't help it. And so we're there going, oh, well, yeah, they are going through the same crap that I am. So we all are. And and one of the other interviews, I think it was Tyler, I'm not sure, we were talking about how he was saying that now going into the community, because he looks at it, but he doesn't ever say anything because he feels like, oh, all these people are so much more, expanded or, risen so much higher. And now he's like, oh, now I kind of know him. So easier to hop in and go, what'd you guys do when, you did this or when that happened to you or whatever. So yeah, I think that the community part was really, really great.
It really was very helpful.
Sorry, we're not in a professional studio or anything, guys.
Yeah.
We have background noise.
The dogs just got up and I'm even wearing earbuds to try to reduce the external sound. So
oh, it's okay. Everybody knows
that's life, right?
Yeah, that's right. And most of the other podcasts that I recorded for this week, we did at the hotel. So there were people walking by going, oh, hi, and all this stuff.
Right.
We weren't in a soundproof room or anything. Yeah. So what was your best takeaway? What did you want to learn and then go, I got it. I got it. I understand this now.
Well, before this, we were talking about the let go technique. And I think a lot of us it's that whole thing in your head, it, we understand it, but being there and getting that full on explanation, I think really helped me see where I'm not always letting go. And I can tell I've always been kind of a relaxed person and I don't have a lot of anxieties and worries. I don't know, it's just my nature.
Lucky you.
But this has helped me sort of heighten that. But I can tell sometimes where I think I've let something go, And then I start getting some sort of physical ailment. And I know that we have physical resistance, but I'm trying to tune in and tell the difference now, where I can sort of tell where, okay, I've really got something going on, some illness. It's just my ego, Deb, saying, hey, you shouldn't be doing this. I'm going to make you feel this way. And then there's the emotional overwhelm too that comes. And then I'm like, okay, I guess I really need to work on letting go a little bit more. Sometimes it goes down into my right hip and my hip is tight, and that's a signal. So
Awareness.
What's that?
Awareness, at least
Yeah,
now you notice, right?
Yeah, I noticed. So now knowing that, I'll just really work more on fully doing the let go technique. And I found that if I take the time and journal, even if it's just like a couple of minutes, because on the one podcast, Bill went through that more expanded journaling, and I actually wrote it down on one of my cards. And if I sit down and I write out what my frustration was, and write out the questions and my answers to them, it helps me more fully release that in the moment frustration.
We talked a little bit at the event about closing the day, but we got a little bit behind on the schedule because so many people were asking so much stuff about wellness. So we ended up having to shift things around. I don't know if you noticed our actual schedule turned out a little different than the printed one. Yeah, but we were going to talk more about close the day and something that has helped me so much, because sleep. We all need sleep.
Right.
I'll still do it, but I sleep longer hours now. But I just wake up just awake, full on thinking, like, was I even asleep? I'm not sure, because I'm in the middle of a whole thought, of a whole idea. And I noticed that when I close my day now, gratitude, I name 5 things I'm grateful for. Lots of times they're the same things. Lots of times they're not, because I'll look back and go, oh, I'm glad I got to talk to my friend today that I haven't talked to, just different things. But also, what conversation should I have had? Or what am I holding on to? Or what did I get mad about that I might not have let go? Because some of the stuff doesn't just go away one time, about like this magic, okay, you're, poof, you're gone. So I just think, like, going back in the day and saying, yeah, why was I so mad when that bank teller said that to me? Because it's not the bank teller. It's a program that
something that got activated.
Yeah. So I think that looking back at the day and thinking about that kind of stuff is really, really helpful to really fully let go of things.
I noticed in our materials, there was something about letting go of resentments at the end of the day that I kind of combined everything into one giant PDF and sent it to my Kindle, because that's what I mostly read from. But that one I think I'm going to print out and keep with my nighttime journal, so I can use that to start
make it a habit. It'll be a skill.
Yeah.
You won't even need paper. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that might really help you, because we all have deep-seated stuff. Mine's usually tied to relationships, and everything's fine and dandy until it's not.
Yeah. Well, and the other really big thing is when we wrote those letters, I call it the everyone's dead and the world's about to explode letter. That's how I look at it. That letter where we wrote like the most dire situation, I had already done a little bit of excavating some of that stuff over the summer. So I sort of had a few ideas of where my deep-seated fears were. And I found maybe 1 or 2 more, and I was fine after that, doing the My Life is Great letter. And when we were doing the vision, I was fine. Nothing until about talked to my husband, took a bubble bath, and then I'm sitting there reading, and I feel like sad that night, a few hours, and I'm like, okay, this is weird. And then I'm like, okay, this must be something passing through me right now. So I just sort of sat with it and just didn't really push it away, didn't really do anything. I just sort of let it kind of flow through. Next morning I get up, I'm feeling okay. So I'm starting my Green Focus Power Hour. And the book I was reading was this book of Celtic prayers, and it was about peace and connection. And I'm reading it and I'm starting to cry. I start crying, and I'm crying through that, and I'm blubbing through my journaling, like a good 10 minutes of just not sobbing, but just tears. Right. So I finished green and then it ends. I go to the gym and I said, Bill was up there and I said something to him and he goes, don't try to figure out what it is. Just let it be. I said, I haven't yet, but I think I have, but I kept going. So that was what we did those letters, Friday?
Yeah, Friday.
So that was Saturday morning. And after I rode the bike for about half an hour at the gym. I went out and I walked up by the golf course because the grounds were so beautiful. And it was like early morning and it was beautiful weather and there were birds. And I just felt this rush of appreciation and gratitude. And oh my God, how beautiful the world is.
Nice.
And I'm just looking at some trees in a field, like nothing overly special, but it just struck me of just how beautiful it is. Went through the day. The next day, I did yoga with Pablo. And then again, more tears during that wonderful meditation he did. Like I was still releasing something. I'm sitting there and the gratitude and I'm feeling the gratitude for my family. And I'm just crying again and again. In the airport, I started. So like the whole like weekend after that, I was just off and on, just like shedding these tears, but it wasn't like sobbing. It was just this emotional release. And I didn't think about it, but I think I know what program it is. And it's one that Bill talked about. You know how you get the text from someone or you don't get the text from someone? So Saturday night, I had called my husband. He didn't answer. And I texted him like, hey, I'm really tired. I'll call you from the airport tomorrow. And he didn't respond to me that night or the next morning or the next afternoon.
Oh.
Now, normally my ego would have been like, oh my God, something happened. Something's wrong. Why isn't he getting back to you? Is he mad? Is he coming to the airport? None of that. Nothing.
Oh, cool.
I mean, I know what he does on the weekends after he's put in a hard week. A lot of times he'll go upstairs early and he'll just take the dogs and he'll like snuggle in and watch some kung fu movies that he likes.
Yeah, whatever he wants. Yeah.
You know, like that's his decompressing from the week. And that's exactly what he was doing because I called him and got through to him in the airport. And then today he texted me this morning and he's like, hey, can you call me when you get a chance? And in the past I would have been like, oh my God, what's going on? What's wrong? What's wrong? And I'm like, okay. And I just went about my day. So I think what released was that anxiety about, because one of my fears is that fear of loss through rejection.
Mm-hmm.
And I think maybe that's what got shaken loose.
Wow.
Partly. Because normally I would have been totally like, oh my God, why isn't he calling me? I don't believe he's not calling me. And I was just totally fine with him not calling me.
Well, that's good.
And I'm like, this is awesome. I feel
that's a really good program to get rid of.
I think it might be that one. I'll have to keep watching over the coming months and hopefully that's what it was. I would really like it to be that one.
Well, do yourself a favor. If that little inkling, even a twitch of it comes in, if Deb starts saying, why is he? I'm okay. I can allow this. He's busy.
Yeah, because when she tried to start, I'm like, no, it's okay. It's good.
Yeah.
We're good. I'm not even going to entertain that thought. Sorry.
Yeah.
Try again.
Cool. Yay.
So yeah, that was
sometimes
all
you have to do it over and over. So yeah, that was a good release.
Yeah. And I mean, I made my list of other things that I'll work on trying to, you know, I basically categorized everything. So I've got like 4 or 5 that are just like a category of the root cause, you know what I mean? So I'm going to keep working on those. And so that was very exciting.
But you know how, so yay.
Yes, I do know how.
I remember one time after I was doing stress mastery for a while, I was just going for a walk and I don't remember what the prelude to it was. But I was just walking along, I was listening to music or a podcast, something, and all of a sudden I was like sobbing, like bawling, like I don't even know what in the world. And I've let go of so many programs now in the last few years that I don't know that I ever identified it. Sorry, I have to let my cat out or he's going to meow the rest of the time.
It's okay.
Come on. Anyway, so yeah, it's like you just never know. And you don't, like Bill was telling you, you don't have to know because you just have to let it go. So that's like the allowance. Can I allow this without even asking yourself the question?
Right.
So anyways, yeah, it's really, really great. I know that other people have that same experience. So it's really, really cool. I love that too. And
Yeah.
now you know.
Yeah,
So,
and just to be freed up from something that in the past has been a problem
mhm.
is kind of cool.
Yeah, especially because how many times does somebody text you and how many times does somebody,
Yeah, or they don't get back to you and you're like, oh my God, why aren't they getting back to me?
yeah.
I can't believe it.
Uh-huh.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna give them a piece of my mind, you know?
Okay, Deb, okay.
Oh,
So yeah.
she can get really feisty sometimes.
So I thought it was really fun to meet everyone too.
Oh, it was
A
so
group of
great.
like-minded people. It was like, like now you
Yeah,
guys are my friends. Instead of just seeing each other and typing to each other, we know
right.
each other so much better, So that was
It
really
it
good.
was just, yeah, like you make those connections online, but there's only so far it can go. And like I said, I've conversed and made comments to everybody, but by the end, I felt more like a gathering of friends and family than just a gathering of people that were there for this event. It felt like this greater connection had happened just from our conversations and our shared time together, and it was great.
Yeah. Yeah, also from getting just beaten down with those letters and with all of the stuff. And then raised back up together, you know what I mean? It
Right.
brings a bond and some camaraderie there.
Yeah, and just
I feel.
and the beautiful grounds and the chance to get outside. I
Yeah, that's why I
mean,
was excited to have it there because it's so nice there.
it was really pretty.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I really did like it. So I liked that we were able to have like this curriculum that he figured out
Mhm.
how to teach it to people that have been in stress mastery a long, long time. And then people that
Brand new.
never knew a word about it, and everybody got something out of it.
Right.
And
Like a couple
everybody felt
of
the connection.
the Brenda crew,
Yeah.
I guess never meditated before.
No.
So, I
No,
mean, I
they
guess,
never listened to a podcast. They don't know
mhm.
one bit about any of it, never
So
meditated.
she managed to convince them to come along, which is
She
great.
did. She's a good little salesperson.
She really is. She really is.
And they all liked it.
I hope she and her sisters and I guess and friend do follow through on something. And it's interesting because I have several hours in the one airport, Charlotte, I guess, and I'm sitting there, and the two ladies next to me start getting raised voices, and I'm like, oh, maybe it would be nice if you could get some stress mastery, because it clearly was. Thank you, Kitty. It clearly was a long-standing kind of thing. And I'm thinking, if I would love to help get this message out to more people, so more people can have that peace that you get, and just to be able to have more positive interactions, because you love your family, you love your friends, you don't want to have that kind of negative thing happening.
Right.
And yet it does over and over and over again.
Because we don't know how. That's the whole thing, that everybody can use these practices.
Mm-hmm.
The 7 steps of stress mastery,
Exactly.
which is the whole world. If only people knew them and would believe them, try them, and buy in or drink the Kool-Aid, as Brenda would say.
Right. Even if people would just slow down.
Exactly.
Slow down and then respond instead of yeah.
Exactly.
Even if you could just get people to pause for a second before they say something and try to think it through. Yeah. It would help so much.
So tell your friends that bit of advice, right?
I tell my students that. One of my 7th grade girls was talking to me about how she gets upset with her family. I'm like, well, what helps if you just slow down for a minute and you just think it through before you say anything, because then it's better for you, because you won't be in trouble, and you'll feel better.
Yeah. Your friend's not mad at you. You're not mad. Everything's
right. Everything's better.
So do you have like a favorite thing that happened?
Just meeting everybody, really, and having that sort of communion and camaraderie. And Paula and I encountered 2 little baby copperheads on our walk.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that wouldn't be my favorite thing.
Luckily
That
they
would be
won.
my least favorite thing.
Luckily they just, both of us went, oh, look.
And Paula told me that she actually doesn't mind snakes.
And I don't
That was
either.
just- Yeah,
I
so
don't either.
I would have hated it. I would have been.
The deer were better though. Seeing the
I
deer
love
were
the
better.
deer. That was fun. That was really
But
fun.
yeah, I think just getting a chance to meet everyone and, in real time, meet in real life, in person,
Yeah.
have that chance to really just converse and get to know people.
So are you planning on getting into that side community that David's setting up for us?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because I think that the new people are really going to need us to be in there to say, I used to do this.
Well,
and it's been like that for all of us.
Us experienced folks are going to need you coaches to help us too.
I'll be there. I'll be in there. Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, it's one of those things. We're continually learning.
Constantly.
Always. Yeah. And I would say I'm not going to be done learning. So
no, I hope not. I know, it keeps you fresh, right?
Yeah.
Fresh
it
and
does.
young.
Yeah, I really think so. Yeah.
I do too.
And you're not stagnating then, you're not in a rut,
exactly.
New stuff is coming and you're trying to figure it out, My aunt is 86 and I look up to her a great deal for a number of reasons. And one is the woman has an iPad. She's 86.
Cool. I love that kind of stuff. Her
neighbor talked her into it. And so during COVID, and I've got to email her one of these days, we kept in touch over Zoom, over FaceTime.
Cool. Yeah, that's the one.
I'm like, but she always, she's not letting herself just wither away. She's trying something new.
I hope that I'll be like that too, because I was just telling.
I have a sense you will, Peggy, because you seem like, you just became an author.
Yeah. Age 60.
So,
yeah.
Right. So yeah, I have a feeling you're already on that track.
Well, I tell my kids okay, you guys, just show me how to do it and I can learn. Instead of just getting frustrated, just I need a little extra time. Just show it to me. I'll get it. Yeah, because I do try to do technology, but I also think that I'm not trying to sabotage myself, but sometimes things just don't work for me, which is just kind of funny because I really am doing them right and it doesn't work. So
technology has a mind of its own.
Error stuff.
It really does. It has a mind of its own.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't win. Okay, well, that's about all the time that we have, unless there's something else that you really want to say.
I can't think of anything else.
All right. Well, thank you for doing the interview with me. I really appreciate it. I know people will enjoy hearing it. So from your perspective and your experience. So
thanks for taking the time and thanks for putting together a fantastic event.
Yes. And if this doesn't show up, it's because Florida has a hurricane and the super millennial, the one who has to post this. So
he'll get it there eventually.
I hope everything's okay.
I know.
So that's it for today's show. And remember that our mission here is to create a shift in the planet. And you can join us on the mission by simply share, and subscribe, or go to our next event. That would be awesome. Join the community full of like-minded people. And we thank you for listening. And as always, until next time, stay inspired.
Stay inspired.
Thank you, Brenda.
Thank you, Peggy.
I gotta stop the recording. I don't know how. Okay.